Hey there, friends. So I am actually driving. I had to come to Carmi for lab work today, but I wanted to share with you something that's been on my heart the last full week or so since I'd been reading in the book of Acts. And actually, our pastor yesterday mentioned this story in his sermon, and so I'm like, okay, well, I really need to do my From the Farm, because it was something that he had brought up and something that I had actually been thinking about. But we often think of Saul as being very zealous. He was very, very zealous for Judaism. He was a Pharisee, and he was studying to continue to go up in the ranks of Judaism. And in chapter 8 of Acts, it talks about that Saul was in hearty agreement with putting Stephen to death. And we know that they laid their cloaks at the feet of Saul, and that Saul was supporting them in this, in killing Stephen. And it said on that day a great persecution of the church began. And then we read on into chapter 9, where Saul was going from house to house and arresting people and binding them and taking them to Jerusalem and just persecuting the church. And then we get into Paul's encounter with Jesus on the road to Damascus. And we know that he was headed to Damascus to continue on with his arrests of the Christians. But he encountered Jesus. And you know what? Knowing Jesus and encountering Jesus really has a life-changing impact on you. Saul was one way. He met Jesus, and then he was something totally different. And I love how that worked in my own life. I accepted Jesus when I was 9 years old, but I didn't live my entire life for the Lord. I, got a little crazy in my teenage years. I, stayed a little crazy maybe in some of my adult years. But several years ago, I really had an encounter with the Lord that just totally changed me. Completely changed me. In fact, it ended up bringing me back home, and I'm where I am today had I not had that encounter with the Lord. So don't underestimate the power of knowing Jesus and having an encounter with him that changes everything about your life. I'm so much better for it. I am not the same person that I used to be. And I just give God the glory that he reached down whenever I was at one of my lowest points, had a personal encounter with me, and changed everything about me. I hope that you guys have a fantastic Monday. I hope that you have a fantastic week. And if you don't find yourself in church somewhere, I would love for you to come visit us at Spriggerton Christian Church. I will sit next to you. Our services start at 10 o'clock on Sunday. And I know that that's a long way off, but you can't hear it enough. I want to invite you to church. You guys have a good day. Bye.